Hello everyone and welcome to episode 141 of the Giddy Knits podcast. Today is Wednesday the 1st of May and as always I am Helen and I am coming to you from Dundee in Scotland. This is the first podcast recorded in the new studio, so I hope you like my little setup. I'm quite liking it. It looks quite nice on the camera. I feel quite cosy because I'm kind of tucked into a corner. I do also have a radiator next to me, which means that I won't get cold while I'm sitting here. And the studio light clips very nicely on my island in the middle of the room. So hopefully this will work quite nicely. So hello, welcome back to everyone who watches regularly and hello to anyone that is new and checking the podcast out for the first time. I hope you enjoy it. If you are new and you don't know who I am Helen. As I said, I live in Dundee in Scotland. I know I don't sound Scottish, but we've been living up here for nearly 6 years, I think, something like that. And I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns. This is all stock yarn, not stash yarn. And this is my crafty podcast where I talk about everything that I've been working on in the period between podcasts, as well as any Makealongs that we've got running, and yeah, that's kind of it. And then I generally finish up the episode with a little bit of shop news as well, so just to keep you updated with anything new that is happening in the shop. So yeah, that's it. Today I have got some announcements to talk along because we've got some Makealongs on the go. I've got some prizes to announce for one of the Makealongs. I've got what's in the basket, which is my kind of works in progress, what am I working on section. I've got some Yarny Goodness to share, and then I'll finish up with some shop news at the end, as always. Yeah. I have moved into my new studio. If you didn't get that gist, I think the last episode I recorded was at the very end of March, and I was just about to pick up the keys to the new studio. You'll know that I haven't recorded an actual sit-down podcast during April because it's been a bit of a busy month. There was 2 weeks of school holidays, obviously with the Easter holidays, a week of which I was away on holiday, and then we also had getting everything moved into the studio, painting it, sorting it out, and all of that kind of thing. So I just haven't had the chance really to sit down and record a proper podcast. But you may have noticed, you may already have watched on the channel, there are 2 vlogs that I popped up, which were kind of moving into the studio vlogs. One of them was very much watching paint dry, and the other one was us actually physically moving in and getting everything sorted out. But yeah, I've been in properly now for probably a week and a half, something like that, and I'm feeling good and settled, and I'm getting into the flow of things. I'm still struggling a little bit with remembering what I need to take home or what I need to bring into the next day, like that kind of stuff. But I did remember to bring in all the projects that I wanted to talk about on the podcast. But generally, yeah, it's all good. I'm feeling quite settled. I'm loving the extra space. That is making such a difference. And I can see like places where that's going to make a massive difference going forward as well. Like Advent, when it comes to Advent packing, that is going to be incredible. It's going to make such a ridiculous difference. It's going to make Advent packing so much easier. So yeah, I'm excited. It's good. I'm feeling settled. So yeah. Thank you for all your well wishes towards the studio. Shall we move on to some actual announcements before I ramble? I have a suspicion it could be a rambly one because it feels like it's been ages since I've sat down and talked to you, and that often has me rambling a little bit. Nope, my cup of tea is too hot. I made it just before I sat down. I didn't give it a chance to cool down. Announcements. So we have 2 Makealongs running. As always, we have the Giddy Yarns Makealong, which is my ongoing Makealong, which is just my way of giving back to my lovely customers, or people who may have received my yarn as a gift. But basically, any project that you finish that uses at least 50% of my yarn can be entered into our Makealong for a chance to win a prize. And you can enter on Ravelry, in our Ravelry group, and also in our Discord thread. Both of the ways to link, all the information about it is underneath the video. As is most of what I talk about, you'll find the information, or you'll find links, or basically that kind of stuff underneath the video on YouTube in the show notes. So yeah, that is that one. I draw quarterly prizes for that one, and obviously I recorded just before the end of March last time, so you didn't get prize winners then, but I do need to draw prize winners for the first quarter, and I sat down and I did that last night. I went through the Discord thread and the Ravelry thread, and basically each time I pick a different one first. This time I picked the Discord thread first. I counted how many posts, how many entries there were, and wrote down that, and then I went through the Ravelry thread and did the same, and then just followed on. So I can't remember exactly, but there were like 21 in the Discord thread, and then there were 10, so we carried on with 22, 23 for Instagram, and then I'd use a random number generator to draw. This time it happened that both winners were in the Discord thread, and the first one, I'm just going to use your Discord usernames. The first one was Tina BHK, who had knitted a pair of socks using my snowman colourway. And the second winner was Jennifer Natters, who had knit a cowl using a combination of my Long Lake colourway and my Fluff colourway Pacific. She had held them together to make a cowl. So congratulations to the two of you. When you see this, drop me a message. Ideally, either a message on Instagram or an email. Again, that information should be down underneath the video. And you can either pick a skein of yarn from the shop, or if there's nothing that strikes your fancy immediately, then I'll send you a gift card for the value of a skein of yarn for you to use in the future, or put towards a discount on something bigger than a skein of yarn. So yeah, that's that one. And then our other Makealong that we've got running at the moment is the Spring Shawl-a-thon, which I am running in combination. That's not the word I want, is it? I'm co-hosting, we'll go with that. I am co-hosting with Fran from Franny Do Makes here on YouTube. And basically a number of us on Discord had said that we wanted to knit shawls. A lot of us had wanted to knit specifically Vertices Unites. And we decided, Fran and I decided that it would be fun to come up with a make-along that we could do together, and anyone could cast on whatever shawl they wanted. So basically any shawl, as long as you started it after the 1st of April, then you can enter, come and join our Discord group. Yeah, so my Discord group or my Ravelry group is where you can do entries from me. Fran is doing Instagram as well. You just have to tag her in the Instagram post when you post. And yeah, basically, across both our podcasts, you'll find all the information. All the information for how you can enter for me will be below this video. Fran has got all the information for how you can enter for her. You are allowed to enter both. You can cross-post. It's absolutely fine. The more ways you enter, the more chances you have. We are not basing this on finished objects. So basically, we will just look at the number of posts and we will draw randomly from the number of posts. So just come and chatter and join in, and the more you chatter, the more you share, the more chances you have of winning a prize at the end of June. So it's running up until the end of June. Yeah, I think I've told you everything. I'm not sure I've explained that overly well. But that is the thing. Any shawl that you have cast on, it doesn't have to be knitted, it can be crocheted as well. Come and join us. It's been really, really fun. I've really enjoyed the Discord thread. Lots of people have been sharing various different projects. It's really pushed me with starting mine, as you'll see in a little bit. And it's been really, really fun. It's been really nice co-hosting it as well. And yeah, it's fun. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm gonna try this tea again. Right, shall we move on to some actual knitting? Now, I don't have a lot of knitting really, well, that's not true. I don't have a wide variety of projects to share this time, because although I have worked a fair bit on some things, I've been pretty monogamous. That's what I'm trying to say. So normally you get like a tiny bit of progress on lots of different things, but this time I have been pretty monogamous with a couple of projects. So they're what has seen the most progress. I went on holiday in the second week of April, and that was really nice because that was a really chilled holiday. We went to the Isle of Mull with my in-laws, and it was a really, really kind of chilled holiday. So I got quite a lot of knitting progress done while we were there. And then the last couple of weeks, it's just been crazy. So I haven't had as much time to knit. But let's show you what I have worked on. And I feel like a couple of these projects have had significant progress. So we will start with my So Faded sweater, because it's not actually on the needles at the moment, and that is because I have finished the body of it. So the pattern is the So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry, but as you may notice, I have not faded it. I picked up this yarn pack from Giddy Yarns at East Anglia, not this year just gone, the year previously, and it was 8 50-gram minis in 4 different colours. Each of those 4 colours kind of faded nicely. So I decided that what I would do, instead of doing a big fade throughout the whole thing, I was just going to stripe them. And I really like how it's worked. It looks really fun. I've really enjoyed doing it. I've done 10 rows in each colour, and then I have just, carried on. It's been a really nice mindless knit. Once I got past the raglan shaping for the sleeves, there's no body shaping, so it was just a really nice mindless knit. I have done it slightly cropped, not like properly cropped, but it sits probably just about my hip bones, I think, because I would like to wear it under dungarees. That's kind of the plan. So I didn't want it to come down too far kind of over my bum or anything like that. Otherwise it just adds bulk around the hips when you're wearing it with dungarees. So yeah, body is finished. I just need to now pick up and start the sleeves. And I'm just going to do the same down the sleeves. I'm going to stripe every 10th row. Stripe every 10 rows. I'm going to change the colour, and we'll see how we go. And then I still need to put the neckband, that's the word I want. I still need to put the neckband on, which I think I'm going to do in one of the blues. I think I might do it in the darker blue, so it gives you a bit of contrast, but it will still fit in with the colours around the neckline. I did do the button band at the bottom in the blue, just because that was the next colour in the order. And we'll see how it works out on the sleeves. But it's possible that the sleeves may end up being kind of the same and having the next colour, if that makes sense. I don't really know. But yeah, I feel like I've made good progress on that. I'm hoping I have got some small circulars that I can do the sleeves on, so that they'll be nice and quick and easy, and it'll just be round and round and round again. I'm pretty sure I do, and if I don't have any at home, I'm pretty sure I've got some in stock, because I do stock hires, so I can always steal some from my stock to do that bit. So that is that project. It's coming along well. I'm hoping I've got plenty of yarn left for the sleeve. The only one that's looking a little bit low is this colour, which I did the ball band with. You can see compared to the one next to it, because I did that extra stripe. But hopefully it shouldn't be an issue. I'm wondering if I should cast the sleeves on at the same time, so that I can, I don't know, so that I can, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? So that I can monitor how much yarn I'm using as I go down the sleeves. But that would need a second set of needles. So we will see. I will make decisions when I've cast it on, I think. So that is that one. The other thing that has seen a little bit of progress, I just need to answer the phone because that may be EDF. Right, sorry for that. I have got an engineer from EDF Energy coming shortly. He says he'll be here in 15 to 20 minutes now. He wasn't supposed to be coming until 12, but he's in the area and he can make it to me earlier. He is coming to fit a smart meter and sort out the energy stuff. All these practical things I've had to think about with renting a commercial unit. But anyway, so that was that one. We were moving on, weren't we? We were moving on to the next project. Right, so I have worked a little bit on the Secret Treasures blanket box yarns from Green Lambkin Yarn. So Suzanne at Green Lambkin Yarn this year is doing a mini club where each month you get 4 mini skeins, DK mini skeins. I went for the sparkle, and they're all just fun and random and pretty, and she's calling it her Secret Treasures, I think it's Secret Treasure Box Yarn Club. And I thought I would join that and make myself a crochet blanket. So you will have seen the first 4 colours, which were these ones. These were January. Oh, hang on, I've got 5 here now. Maybe that first one wasn't January. I can't remember. And then we've got those ones and those ones. I am attempting to make 2 squares out of each colour. So I am doing 1 solid granny square, like that, and then 1 normal granny square, because I just thought it would be really fun to have a blanket with them all mixed together. So far I've managed it, but I am playing Yarn Chicken quite often towards the end. So these are some of the newer ones. These are some of the February ones. I've got that colourway, and I've got that colourway. And I'm currently working on the last of the February ones, which is that one there, which is really, really pretty. And then I had, actually, I'm going to put that back in there before it falls. And then I had March arrive, which were these 4. So they're all caked up, ready to go. But these are getting a fair bit of progress, and I feel like I'm keeping up. April hasn't arrived yet. That will probably arrive this week. They generally get sent out towards the end of the month or the beginning of the next month. So I don't feel too far behind because April isn't here yet. And yeah, lots of squares growing. I'm not 100% sure yet how I'm going to join them, whether I'm going to border them and join them, or whether I'm just going to join them. I'm tempted to just join them together, but I think I want to wait. I'm going to wait until like the end of the year when I've got them all made up, and then I can sit down and start joining them together to create my blanket. So that one is growing slowly. I haven't worked on a lot of other blankets. My Cozy Memories blanket, which is probably the one that you're all screaming at me and going, why have you not finished that? My goodness, that I-cord takes ages. I've also made the mistake of bringing it to the studio to have as like a studio project for days where I might be dyeing yarn but don't have a lot else to do. I've not had any of those days yet, so I've not picked it up. I think maybe I just need to take it home. I think what I might need to do is take all the knitting home and just pick a project, like just keep a pair of socks in my bag or something like that, so that I've got something if I want it, but nothing drastic. And I plan my weeks quite thoroughly, so I will know, like, this week I need to do, like, I will know, like, this week I've got a lot of dyeing on, but I don't have a lot of scanning, I don't have a lot of admin and stuff like that, so I can plan around that and bring projects if I can. Like, that's a possibility. Right, then the final project I want to talk about, and then I think after I've talked about this, we will have a bit of a break and I will come back and record the rest later, because otherwise the EDF energy guy is suddenly going to turn up while I'm in the middle of talking. The final project is my Vertices Unite, which I cast on for our spring shawl-a-thon. It's living in a lovely project bag, which was very kindly gifted to me by a viewer of the podcast, and it is perfect. And I've made a fair bit of progress on this. So I picked 5 colours, which I can't remember if I shared these colours with you on the last podcast or not, but I picked 5 colours. I am using 5 skeins of yarn from Spectrum Fibres. I'm not going to be able to hold these all up in one go. So there are the first 3. And then here are the other 2. There we go. So 5 skeins of yarn from Spectrum Fibres. I think all but this one were part of the Spectrum Fibres Yarn Club from last year. And I love that they're all going in one project together. And this is how I've got on. I am on section 3. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Vertices Unite is a pattern by Stephen West. It's a modular shawl which involves stripes and garter stitch. And I have knit one previously and I absolutely loved it. I don't currently have it because when we helped our local board game cafe, move out of their old space, I left it behind. The owners currently have it safe and sound in their houses, but they've not yet reopened their board game cafe. They are in the process. I'm hoping it should be opening this month. And I just said to them, look, just hold on to it. And once you've reopened again, I'll get it back off you at some point. It's not urgent. But I did love it and I wore it a lot. So I'm quite excited to have a new one on the go. So this is how much progress I've made. Like, it's really good. I'm doing the large size, which I think the last one I did was the small size, because this feels quite big already and I'm only on section 3 of 6. So this was the first section where I striped the pink and the turquoise together. So that's quite a big section of striping. And then you pick up stitches along the edge and then you stripe another 2 colours together. So I did the purple and one of the paler colours with the neon-y specks in. And I'm now on to section 3, which is this section here. This section isn't striped. This is a section on its own. And you pick up the stitches on either end as you knit it. And then it changes. It's more of a wedge shape after that. I'm wondering if I don't have the pattern here. The pattern's at home. But yeah, it's coming along. I feel like I've made quite a lot of progress on this. What's been really good is because it's mostly garter stitch, a lot of the time, like your shaping and the bits that you're doing for shaping are at the ends of the rows. I'm finding it quite good for reading. It's quite easy, not so much at the moment because I'm on shorter rows with complicated bits at either end. But once I've got to the longer rows, it'll be fine again. I was finding it quite good for reading and knitting at the same time, which I tend to make more progress on projects like that, because then if I'm just sitting down for like 10 minutes to read my book, I will also pick up my knitting, if that makes sense. I'm the type of person who needs some kind of entertainment going on in addition to knitting. So whether that's reading my book while I'm knitting or watching the TV while I'm knitting or something like that, I can't just sit and knit. That's not enough entertainment for my brain. But yeah, so something simple and garter stitch where I can actually read at the same time always tends to get more progress on than anything more complicated. So yeah, that is my Vertices Unite, which is coming along really well, I feel, for me, in terms of like the progress I tend to make on projects and things like that. So yeah, that is all the projects pretty much that I've been working on. Right, so I'm just looking at the time. Been nearly 10 minutes since the EDF man rung, and he said it'd be 15 to 20 minutes. So hopefully I've got a couple more minutes. What I thought I would share quickly is my in versus out for April, which is not great. So because I've been working on those bigger projects that I haven't finished as quickly, I've made less progress on my in versus out. So for April, I've not put stickers on it yet. For April, I had a total of 400 grams come in. But considering I went to a yarn show in April, I went to the Woolly Good gathering in Edinburgh last weekend, I don't think that's too bad. So 80 grams was the Secret Treasure Box minis, 120 grams was the Wildflower Yarn Fantasy Myths and Legends Yarn Club, and then 200 grams was the yarn that I purchased at the yarn show. So that's not too bad at all, I don't think. And then going out was nothing. Nothing has gone out this month because I've been working on bigger projects. But when they do go out, they're going to be 300 plus grams of yarn probably. So hopefully it all balances out. So total in versus out for April is that I am up 400 grams of yarn. So far for 2024, that puts me up to 1,205 grams of yarn, which is quite considerable, but it's fine. Like, I think my main purpose with this is that I want to see if I can keep up with tracking it. I want to just be more aware of it. And it's, again, I said all along, it's not about reducing my yarn stash, it's about increasing my productivity in terms of knitting. It's about encouraging me to finish more things rather than just put things on the back burner and forget about them. when actually there's a project that could be finished and it could count towards this. That is my goal with this. So I'm finding the tracking really interesting. I'm finding interesting like tracking and seeing how I finished and things like that, which is really interesting. So yeah, no, I'm not finding it overwhelming seeing how much yarn is coming into my stash, although I did find it slightly overwhelming when I reorganised my stash relatively recently, because obviously we've moved the studio and my office room has now changed, and I needed to pull out all of my personal stash so that I knew what was coming to the studio, what wasn't coming to the studio, and then I've needed to find somewhere in the house to put all of that. So I had a little bit of a reorganise and a little bit of a sort through of it, and that was a little bit overwhelming, I will say. But I've dug a few bits out for a de-stash, and I found stuff I'd forgotten that I had, so it's kind of reinvigorated my, oh, I really want to make something with that, and oh yeah, that was set aside for this project. So yeah, it's all good. It all balances out and it's all good. Right, I'm going to pause. I could not tell you. I could just stop the camera and then you wouldn't know that there's going to be a big pause. But I am going to pause because this EDF guy is going to be coming soon. Hopefully he won't be here too long. They did say when I booked it that they are going to need to turn off all the electricity for about half an hour, which is interesting in this room because this room doesn't have a window. So it's going to be dark. I have got, my studio light will run off a USB battery pack, and I've dug out a couple of other lights that I often use at shows that run off USB battery packs. So hopefully at least I can pop those on and have a little bit of light in here. Otherwise I might just leave him to it and go into the other room and prep some yarn for Friday. So we'll see what happens. I will see you back here shortly. For you it will be a matter of seconds. For me it might be an hour or two, and we'll talk about some Yarny Goodness. Okay, I'm back. I now have a smart meter installed, one of those clever little devices that tells me how much electricity I'm using, which will be quite nice because that will be quite interesting to see and get a feel for like whether I use a lot more on days that I've got the ovens running, or if putting the heaters on actually uses that much more. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day and I said to Tom, I'd been cold in the studio because I've not been putting the heaters on that much because I'm kind of conscious of the amount of electricity that I'll be using and paying for and stuff like that. And I realised yesterday that I would actually rather take slightly less profit from the business but be warm and comfortable while I'm working than be freezing and not comfortable and not very happy but earn a little bit more. So yeah, that's the way I'm going with it. I'd rather have the heaters on and be warm and comfortable and just take a little bit less profit from the business than freeze. So I have got the heater next to me, and there's two heaters in this room. They're just electric radiators. I have only got one of them on, and that was fine. I am freezing now because the heating and things have been off for the last hour or so while the power was off, while the guy did the meter. So it's got cold again in here, but the heater is back on again now, and hopefully things will warm up. Anyway, I'm rambling again. We were moving on to Yarny Goodness. I have a little bit of Yarny Goodness to share. I have a basket here. It's not all yarn. We're just calling it Yarny Goodness because that's the segment. But I obviously went to the Woolly Good Gathering in Edinburgh this weekend, so I picked up a few bits and pieces there, and then I've also had a yarn club come in. I've already shown you the minis from Green Lambkin Yarns, which I guess technically should have been Yarny Goodness, but I've already caked them up and they're already heading into use. But I do have a few lovely things to share with you. So where shall we start? We will start, I'm going to pop the basket just down there. We will start with the other yarn club. I have joined up to the Wildflower Yarns yarn club this year. She is doing a myth and magic, it is, not myth and legend yarn club. And each month is inspired by a different image. And you get a postcard each month with the image on. So this month was goblins, I believe. And this was the image for her inspiration. And here is the yarn. I love this one. This is so my colours this month. It's so pretty. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with all of these. Again, I'm just kind of collecting them throughout the year, and then I will make decisions next year as to whether I decide to do some big projects with them, like putting them all in one, like I'm kind of doing with the Vertices Unite, or whether I just do socks, or I don't know. But that is the Goblin yarn. Super pretty. I love Wildflower Yarn's logo as well. And then she always pops in a couple of little extras. We get a sticker of the kind of the character from the month, which is really fun. I love stickers. I am sticker obsessed. So that makes me very, very happy. And then she always does a couple of little stitch markers as well. And this month we have got moons. Aren't those pretty? So that is the Yarn Club. I'm just popping it in here. I think it came in the organza bag this month. Often it comes in a box, but I remember reading something about how she decided to switch. I prefer it in an organza bag, in all honesty, because I can keep it in that, and boxes often take up a lot of space in the recycling and things, whereas that will probably get kept in that for a lot longer, and I'll reuse the organza bag, like to send a gift to a friend or something like that. So that's the first one. Then I picked up a few things at the Woolly Good gathering. First of all, actually let me grab that one as well. First of all, I picked up a kit. Now, my Patreons, if you're watching this, you will have seen all of this because I did a little vlog of the Woolly Good gathering for my Patrons and shared my purchases. So apologies for the repetition, but I'm sure everyone else would like to see it as well. But I picked up, ooh, throwing it around, I picked up a kit from Sincerely Louise for a dragon head. I will get the pattern out. So this is the pattern, and this is what I will be making. It's Aran weight yarn, so it should knit up quite quickly. And I believe it is, yeah, it's Sheppies, I don't know how to pronounce it, stone or river washed yarn. But you get sort of just what you need for the project rather than loads and loads of it. And you get everything else. You get the stuffing, you get all the little bits that you need, and the backboard to mount it on, and everything like that. So I thought, do you know what? I've seen them at shows so many times, and this time I just thought, I just fancy giving it a go. It looks fun. It looks like it'll actually knit up quite quickly. And I thought, why not? I'm not counting that. Now, this is where we get controversial. I'm not counting that kit towards my yarn in, because I would need to weigh each of the balls to work out exactly what amount of yarn I've got, and it's in my head, it's kind of a kit, so it is slightly separate to that rather than kind of skeins of yarn that I've purchased into the house. Oh, my cup of tea is hot again because I made a fresh one. I also picked up another pattern. I didn't pick up yarn to go with it because I'm going to do it with some scraps. But I also picked up another pattern from Sincerely Louise because I couldn't resist this donut cat. Because it was the cutest. It was the cutest thing. And I think, losing my voice. And I think both my children would love donut cats. So that's that one. And then the last few bits I picked up. So we shall do the yarn first. I picked up a skein of yarn from the Woolchemist because this was just so pretty. It's called Hopscotch, and what sold it to me at the show was the crochet swatch they had. It looked so beautiful crocheted up, and I really want to make something crochet out of this. I don't know what, I don't know quite. Yeah, I haven't got a clue, to be completely honest. I am not an overly advanced crocheter. If something's got videos, I could probably follow along, or good kind of tutorials and things within it, then I'd probably be all right. I've got a lot of crochet friends that I could ask for help, but I kind of fancy crocheting something out of this. So if you've got any ideas of something that would be a single skein crochet project that this would look really nice in, then let me know, because that's what really kind of swayed me towards purchasing this. And then the other yarn I purchased was these two here. So this is Balmerino yarn. And I would encourage you to look it up and to look up the farm. I won't go into masses of details, but their website is, I think it's literally just Balmerino, it says balmerino.co on the ball band. That might be .co.uk I would encourage you to look them up. They are local to me. They are based in northeast Fife on the banks of the River Tay. And they are producing their own merino sheep. But they are a Shetland Merino cross, and they are breeding the sheep to try and create kind of the softest yarn they can. Now, as I'm sure you'll know, I'm not a very sheepy yarn person. I very much like my hand-dyed yarn, my merino, my super soft kind of yarn. Now, this is obviously merino, but it's gorgeous. It's so soft. I don't quite know what I'm going to make with these. I did pick 2 colours. Each ball is 50 grams, and I did pick 2 colours specifically so that they would go together in one project, whether I make a hat or some mittens or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but it is gorgeous. And as it says, wool grown by a special breed of sheep fed on species-rich grassland on a nature-friendly farm in Scotland. We went to a talk at the Woolly Good Gathering about Balmerino and about them setting up the farm and what they do and changes they've made to kind of help the farm increase and to do. It was fascinating. I could talk for ages about it because it was so interesting, but I couldn't resist picking up some of the yarn as well. So that is that one. And then the last purchase I made was a bag because I saw it and I fell in love with it and I couldn't resist. And it is this bag here. It is gorgeous. This is from Wildwood Stitches, who I hadn't come across before the show. I did chat to them briefly at the show and they said that it was their first time vending at a yarn show. So maybe they're relatively new, I'm not sure. But it is gorgeous. It's Harris tweed on the bottom. It is beautifully lined. And it's just a gorgeous bag. I picked the shawl size because I thought it would be good for, well, to be fair, for me, it would be good for a shawl or a garment, probably. I could probably get a garment in this quite comfortably. And I have been reaching for larger projects recently, so I thought I would go for a larger size. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. So yeah, that is all the Yarny Goodness. Not too much. I thought I was quite restrained at the show, which was good, because I came back from East Anglia with a lot of yarn. But to be fair, at East Anglia, I was also working and I did swaps with other dyers as well, so they don't count. Okay. The final thing I wanted to do was a little bit of shop news. I've got a fair bit to talk about, so we will just dive straight in. First of all, I wanted to mention that I have had a shop update. I am doing this year these little shop updates that feature kind of 3 sock sets, a bouquet bundle, and also just a fun mini bundle. The first one in February was themed around romance and romance novels and romance tropes and romance themes and things like that. The April one, we have gone with a more fantasy-based theme. I'm doing another one in July, which I think I'm going to theme around kind of sci-fi literature. And then we're doing one in October, November time, which I think I'm going to theme around horror literature. So the sock sets for this one were Good versus Evil, which is this one here. And there are still plenty of these online. So there are definitely still sock sets and mini bundles and everything online. So this is Good versus Evil. And then we have The Reluctant Hero, which is this one here. And then we have Dragon Rider, which is this one here. I love a sock set. I love coming up with the mini to pair it with as well. Then the fun mini bundle is The Hero's Journey, which is this one here. So we've gone for a mix of greys, purples, turquoises, that kind of colour for these ones. And then finally, our fantasy bouquet set. I've pulled out a 20 gram set, but there are 10 gram sets as well. are these ones here, and we've gone for, well, the theme I had in my head around this was the idea of a fantastical journey through a mountainous landscape. So you've got greys, you've got kind of the purples and pinks of the heathers, you've got kind of stormy sky kind of blues and snowy kind of blues, and things like that. That was kind of my mountainous kind of landscape was the kind of the thing I had in my head. So they are online now, available, ready to ship, basically. Clubs have just gone online today for May. So obviously we've got the Discworld Club. I will just lean this way slightly and I will pop up the mood board for May's Discworld Club. This month we are inspired by Nanny Og. You will have been able to see that, but my brain froze for a second. So this month we are inspired by Nanny Og. And then for the May, oh, I've lost track of the months. The May mini club is this one here, and we are moving more into the greens. So April had us in kind of yellows towards lime greens, and we're now going from those yellowy lime greens towards more grassy greens before we move on to darker, more forest greens in June. So yeah, clubs are open, clubs are up for pre-order. If you've missed April's club or anything like that, then don't hesitate to just drop me a message. I'm always happy to help. I have got spares of most of the bases for the mini club if you've missed it, and Discworld Club, I'm always happy to stick another batch on if I need to, if you've missed out and you've not signed up. So just give me a shout if you want to catch up, if you've missed out on April or even any of the other previous months. Right, and the final thing, and the big thing I wanted to talk about is Advents. My Advents are launching tonight at 7:30 p.m. You won't be seeing this probably until tomorrow or the day after even, because I still need to edit it and upload it and all of that kind of stuff. But the pre-orders will still be open, so don't panic. But pre-orders will, at the point of you watching this, be live and on the website. So again, I shall smooch myself over this way slightly. I'm doing 2 Advents this year. I am offering a mini skein Advent and a weekly Advent. So the mini skein Advent, this is the mood board. The mini skein Advent is inspired by The Hogfather by Terry Pratchett, and we're doing it as a read-along Advent. So I will give you information on not chapters, because obviously Terry Pratchett doesn't use chapters, just to make things difficult for me. So I will be giving you a little bit of information about when to read through, whether that's the end of certain paragraphs, little key phrases or key words in which to stop for the day. I'm still kind of working that out, but we will find a way. But there will also be a thread in the Discord so you can chat as you're reading through and things like that. The mood board gives you an idea of the colours that I'm going to be dyeing. Now this year won't be a fade, but all the colourways are going to be taken from this mood board, this combination of colours, so they will all work together as a whole across the whole Advent, but they won't be a fade. But I'm quite excited by that. I love a fade. Fades are great. They have their place. I loved doing last year's fade. But I also really like that feeling of surprise when you open a package each day throughout December and you get something different to the day before. Fades are lovely as a project for a whole, but you always kind of know what's coming. You can always kind of guess what colour's coming next with a fade. Whereas I really like having odd Advents as well, where each day is a complete surprise. So that's kind of what we're going for this year. The Advents will be individually numbered in bags as always, and I'm going to get a bag custom printed. So last year we had, I've moved them. Last year we had these bags printed with my logo on. These were like a drawstring rucksack kind of bag. It's going to be the same material because I really like this natural cotton that they do. It prints really, really well. It's really sturdy. It looks great. But we won't be doing my logo on it this year. I have something else planned. And it won't be this style of bag. It won't be a drawstring bag. It will be something different again. But That gives you a bit of an idea. And there will also be a couple of small little themed extras in there as well. Bases. What bases am I offering? I am offering 3 bases on both 20 gram and 10 gram. So I'm offering just merino nylon 4-ply, which is a 75-25 merino nylon. I'm offering sparkle, which again is a 75% merino nylon, 20% nylon, and then 5% stellina, silver stellina. And then I'm offering a merino nylon DK as well. And as I said, they will all be available on both 10 gram or 20 gram, so it's your choice of which. You can add a sock set or a 100 gram skein for the final day. Now, when I'd initially been advertising this, I had been saying that you'd be able to pick your sock set or skein from all of my bases, but when I went to put that in on Shopify, I was having too many options, so I have had to narrow that down to just the same bases as the minis. So it will be available on merino nylon, it will be available on sparkle, and it will be available on merino nylon DK. If you are desperate to switch that out for another base, if you want your 100 gram skein on a completely different base to your mini of one of my bases, then just drop me a message, because they all cost the same price, so it won't affect the cost of the advent, and I can just make a note and I can switch that up for you. It's not a problem, but I just can't put it in on my website. So just to keep it simple, we're narrowing those bases down a little bit. So I think that's everything. Payment plans are available, absolutely no extra charge. It's just you pay your first instalment when you order on the website, and that will be 25% of the cost of the advent, plus you'll get charged shipping at checkout, and then you'll get an invoice in June, July and August for the remaining 25%, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's fine. That's all available. You'll have the choice of paying in full or paying in instalments. Now, that's the same with the weekly advent, but the theme is different. So the weekly advent is inspired by The Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, specifically the book by Dr. Seuss, one of my favourite festive books. And I have done mood boards for each week, because obviously the pictures in the book are all black, white and red, so they don't really give you much of an idea of my inspiration behind them. So I will pop up our first weekly one here. Oh, I'm wishing I had them in front of me now, because I could read you the quotes, but you'll have to read them yourself. Our first weekly one here is inspired by the fact that the Grinch and the Grinch hating Christmas. And then we move on to week 2, which is inspired by Max, the Grinch's dog, and his journey to becoming a reindeer. And then week 3 is inspired by Cindy Lou Who. That's quite self-explanatory. And then week 4 is inspired by the Grinch's change of heart, the fact that his heart grows and he joins in and he finds his love of Christmas. So yeah, that is the weekly advent. Now this is available across all my bases. It is all sock sets, but you can choose from 70 gram sock sets in my merino nylon base and my sparkle base, or 120 gram sock sets across merino nylon, sparkle, merino bamboo, BFL nylon, merino nylon DK. So across all of those bases. And as I said, you can choose to pay by instalment or by paying in full. My brain is slowing down. And that's all there on the listings for you. What else do I need to tell you about them? Their weekly advents will all be wrapped individually and numbered, so you know which is week 1, week 2, week 3 and week 4. And then, all advents ship October time. They will all have shipped by the end of October. I may get some out earlier. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. But they will all ship by the end of October. That's about it really, I think. I'm hoping to leave the pre-order open until the end of May. That's my plan. I think I did that last year. I have quite a large capacity for advents. So hopefully I don't expect I will sell out quickly. So they will go up, and I'll just keep an eye on the numbers. And if I do need to close them before the end of the month, then I will let you know. But hopefully I will be able to leave them up until the end of May with both of them. This will be the only pre-order for the mini skein advent, just because the amount of work involved in dyeing up an advent is incredible. So I need to get on them as soon as I've got all the orders in and I know the numbers. I will be starting to dye in June. But the weekly advent is a little bit less work. So I am planning to relaunch the pre-order, so reopen the pre-order again in August. That will depend a little bit on the numbers, on how many sell now. But I'm planning to reopen it in August, but there won't be a payment plan option in August. The reason I'm opening it early now is because this way I can offer a payment plan option, basically. I think that's everything. Oh, the one other thing I wanted to say is the Hogfather. I've had a few questions asking me, if you've never read a Discworld book, can you still read the Hogfather? Yes, absolutely. The Discworld books, although they are written in kind of series as such, there are kind of branches of series, and like there are books based around the witches, there are books based around the guards. They are very much standalones. You can read them all as standalones. You just sometimes miss a few of the in-jokes, basically. But the Hogfather is one that you can definitely read as a standalone with absolutely no issues. It's one of the Death books. Death is one of my favourite characters in the Discworld series. Yeah, you can absolutely read it as a standalone. If you've never come to Discworld before and you've never read any Terry Pratchett, then yeah, don't worry, you won't be missing anything. It's not a problem. Right, I've talked for ages and ages now, so I will leave you there. And hopefully, now that we're settled into the studio, now that things are getting back onto kind of an even keel, a little bit less chaotic, hopefully I will get back into my 2-weekly schedule for recording the podcast, because that would be nice. It would be nice to get back into that routine. So yeah, let me know what you think of my new podcasting corner. And oh no, I want you to leave me an emoji, but what emoji can we go for? What have we been talking about? We've been talking a lot about Advents and Christmas. So I want you to leave me an emoji that either makes you think of the Hogfather or makes you think of the Grinch, because that would be quite fun to see which one in the comments, which one I think you came up with, which one I think you picked. So yeah, leave me an emoji that makes you think of the Hogfather or the Grinch. And I will see you all again, hopefully, in about 2 weeks' time. Bye!